Good day. We are live. That's right. The build-up to the EFL Championship playoffs is hot off the plate, and of course, it all kicks off tomorrow, Monday. All games, all live at the same time, with only two of the playoff spots still up for grabs. Today, I'm going to hope to chat with fans from each one of the 5 clubs that are in the mix. And we ain't going to waste any more time about it. We're going to bring in Nick, who is, of course, a Millwall fan. Bear with me while I'm still learning this old StreamYard business out. Hang on a second. There we go, Nick. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you good and proper, Dirk. Thanks for having me on the show, mate. Appreciate it.
No. It's all, mate. A pleasure's all mine. Nick, of course, runs the Actung Millwall podcast. And of course, this is the meat of the pudding here, the big game. All eyes on this one. Me as a Rovers fan, I'm coming at this trying to put my blue and white tinted glasses to the side and just have a chat with you about the game and about Millwall's season. Turn the clock back to July or August under Gary Rowett. Did you anticipate yourselves to have such a fantastic season that you are having at the moment?
No, I mean, I think the loss of Jed Wallace last summer, who moved on, of course, to West Bromwich Albion, who are vague contenders for these 2 final playoff spots. But the loss of Jed was felt to be a real blow because he did bring a touch of creativity to the side. We are a fairly functional side. Gary Rowett is a manager that's built a reputation on being strong defence, a counter-puncher, I suppose you would call it that. Which is fine. It's unexciting, and there's one thing about Millwall. I don't know about any of the other boys that we'll have on the show, but we love the drama of the big moments, and you need attacking football to bring people off their seats and into a game. So I think part of the season or a large slice of the season has been built on a style of football that isn't naturally one that gets you excited. That said, to answer your point, no, we wouldn't have expected to be playoff contenders. I think the loss of Jed was felt to be a crucial blow. We have thankfully acquired a replacement Jed in the form of Dutch master Zian Fleming, who's really come good for us and has brought back that touch of flair, unexpected moves, balls that you wouldn't have expected to see at our level. And it's been a season of fits and starts. We've had moments where we've looked really strong. Not 4 weeks ago we were looking dead certs for the playoffs, and then it's all gone to pieces. And I think most of the teams around us, including Blackburn, I'd say, and including Sunderland. I know you got a chap lined up from Sunderland, but I think for me, looking on from our perspective, I just think it's the weight of the moment, Dirk. There's so much on the table. The stakes are so high, mate. And I think that each of our clubs, I don't think I'm going to be, giving anyone too much of a dose of realism, but none of us are going to. We're all fairly average, much of a muchness, average sides with 1 or 2 decent players. Brereton for Blackburn and others. I think we'll all struggle if we get into the Premier League. I don't want to think about that. I think we want it, but we don't want it. There's the dilemma.
Yeah, well, that was actually going to be my next question. Let's just say, fantasy. I whip out my magic wand and, of course, create that scenario that you guys actually not only get top 6, but get into
win through the playoffs.
And get to the Premier League. Are you built for the Premier League? And of, let's say, your current crop of 2022 players. Do you need to do a Nottingham Forest style rebuild, or are you gonna kind of be a bit more cautious?
Well, there's danger in both, isn't there? I mean, I don't. Which of us on this call today is built for the Premier League? I don't think any of us are. In truth, I don't even know that. Maybe Burnley, Sheffield United will maybe not to some extent, but I think each of us will struggle. The Forest route is to almost do a complete reshuffle, which is a problem because obviously you're then bringing in loads of players, and they've struggled all season by that method. Or do you go down the Derby County route a few years ago, where you basically stick with the same crowd and of players and finish up with your best you can hope for is not to have the record low points for the season. So I'm thankfully I haven't got that dilemma to answer. I would like to think that if we can get through tomorrow's game, which is no easy task, Blackburn will be up for it. And then we've still got the semi-final and final of the playoffs to get through. So there's a few hurdles to be jumped over here, mate. I would like to think we would take our season in the top flight if we get it, as a means of boosting the income, building the club, and you probably have to take it on the chin that you'll come straight back down again. But by that stage, hopefully we will have money in the bank, something that's not been much of for many seasons. Then I think we've got to be realistic here, mate. How do you see it with Blackburn? I mean, Blackburn will be in the same boat.
I think we have two or three players that I would say are that can hold their own. We're focusing a lot on youth, it is. All I was hoping for is Rovers to experience the playoffs and just learn from that. I don't want to. If we go up, of course it'll be financially great, but the bigger picture will be, I don't think we could last it. So on the graphic here, I do have as it stands right now, Millwall are in the playoffs. Of course, if everything stays 0-0, happy days, you would be in the mix. But if I could trouble you for the final fixtures scorelines here, if you want to chuck some out there, I've got the Preston versus Sunderland. How do you see that going? And I'll update the screen here, and then we'll have a look if that is enough for the playoffs. So if you don't mind, what do you think will happen between Preston and Sunderland?
Well, everything I've just said about nerves, I think, will afflict Sunderland. Big club, huge club, one of the big names of English football. So Preston in their way, but Sunderland more directly, I think. But I think equally prone to nerves. I would, heart or head. I mean, I think they'll probably do enough tomorrow because the stakes are on the table now. This is business, and they've got to win. Otherwise, really, Sunderland can be thinking about another season of Championship football. So I think Sunderland will get enough at Preston. I think maybe a 1-0 win for Sunderland tomorrow.
Oh, right. So you reckon they'll get the 3
I think they'll
points.
do it because this is all about pressure football, Dirk, and who can handle it. And I think that's when the chips are down, I think they're a decent side, Sunderland, and I think they'll get enough to get past Preston tomorrow because the stakes are so high.
What about already in the playoffs, Borough up against another surprise, Coventry City?
Yeah, Coventry surprise package. I mean, I don't think I'm doing any of us a disservice in saying we're all pretty average sides, and I think Coventry are joining us in that statement. Borough, I think, have made the mistake here, Dirk, of taking the foot off the pedal slightly. They got beat. Where did they get beat the other day? I forget the result at the
Rotherham.
Rotherham. They've gone to Rotherham. Rotherham needed the result. Middlesbrough are now safe and secure in the playoffs. And I think they've made a mistake in not keeping the gas pedal down to the floor because as soon as you do that, it's quite hard to get going again. So I don't see Borough. I think Borough will still be in relaxed mode tomorrow, which I think will be an error on their part, incidentally, going into the higher pressure playoff situation, which they will be. So I think Coventry will actually get a result there tomorrow. I think they'll again another 1-0 for Coventry.
1-0 for Coventry.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get those in there. West Brom go to Swansea.
Swansea, nothing to play for. West Brom, everything to play for. Everyone's depending on our game. That's where it can be settled. Certainly from a Millwall perspective. I think West Brom will be desperate to get a result at Swansea, but I think the desperation will overcome them a little bit. I think a draw. I think they'll 1-1 draw. Might be 0-0.
Keeping West Brom, no show there. And then, of course, the big one at the end. It all boils down to Millwall Rovers.
Titanic day in Bermondsey.
Yeah.
18,000 sellout, maximum pressure. The high rollers table, and it's Millwall at home. Now that can go one of two ways for us because the pressure and the intensity will be there for sure tomorrow. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Den on a big game day. You can almost reach out and touch the atmosphere. It's huge. Now that can be a good thing from a Millwall perspective. I think if we get scoring early, then I think it will be very, very hard for Blackburn to get anything out of the game tomorrow. I think the longer that Blackburn can pass the ball and keep us chasing after it, which I think is probably where Blackburn will try and take it to kill the crowd, keep the ball, and I think they've got a decent striker in Brereton Diaz. I think the longer it goes on, the more it starts to favour Blackburn. So it'd be a huge opening phase of a game tomorrow. I've got to back the Lions. I can't go around on a Blackburn show and start talking about Blackburn winning, can I? You know, be fair, Dirk. But no, I'll take us to win it 1-0. But it could easily swing either way you like there. I don't see a draw tomorrow. Do you?
That I will have to. I don't know. I don't see a draw. I don't know. I don't know about Rovers. I really don't. So I'm just going to update my stuff here quick, and then I can let you do your thing on a Sunday afternoon. But let me just. You said 1-0 to the Lions.
1-0 to Millwall.
That's that. And then 1 second. So it'll be pretty much. I think, if I got this right, it'll see Coventry and Millwall, as you were, I guess, in the top 6. Gosh, this is quite fiddly. I might ditch this for the next guys here. But anyway, so that's how you'll see it, I guess. Burnley, of course, already there. Sheffield United, the Hatters, Borough, and then Coventry and Millwall will be into that final 6. And of course, that's set up. I think you will take on Luton in
over 2 legs.
Yeah, you fancy your chances on that one?
In the playoffs, and I don't wish to sound arrogant, because no Millwall fan can truly ever be arrogant about their club, because history should teach us otherwise. I do fancy us in the playoff situation over anyone in the playoffs, because all of the season's form, all of the the way the season has panned out for each of us, and both Luton and Borough have done very well this season. But it all goes out the window. You've got 2 insanely pressurised matches, home and away, live television, with the ultimate prize on the table at Wembley. So you can throw everything out the window for that. And it's really, I think even tomorrow, to be honest, against Blackburn as a starting point, because if we don't beat Blackburn, we don't get into it, I don't think.
I'll give it. So I think if Rovers can somehow get in there, I think the pressure will be off Blackburn. I don't think they expect to be in the playoffs, and I think when the pressure is not there, that's when you see the real stuff. When we did against Leicester, West Ham in the Cup, we didn't expect to win those games, but we played like it was a friendly, and we looked really good. So tomorrow, I think if we can somehow, and we've got a lot against us, we don't only just have to beat you guys. We have to.
The goal difference doesn't help you.
We have a terrible goal difference.
-3, I think, at the moment, so it doesn't help. No, I make you right. I mean, I'd say the same about the Lions. Whenever we've played any of the decent big sides, we've beaten Sheffield United. I think we've done okay against Burnley. Big time situations, somehow the blood rises at the Den. Where we've struggled is we played Huddersfield, Neil Warnock's Huddersfield, and he came to park the bus, and we struggle to break teams down. We don't have that level of ability to break a side down. That won't help us in the Premier League, but if we get there, if touch wood. But at this level, if it's all out blood and thunder guts, then I think we would do well, and the playoff situations would be just that. So I would strangely favour us if we do get into the final 4. But huge match tomorrow first to get past, and I don't think anyone can go into tomorrow's game anticipating anything other than a very, very tight, intense contest. Performance comes second to the result tomorrow.
Well, it's very, very exciting either way. And again, from an outsider, unbiased point of view, I'm happy to see the likes of Coventry, Luton, Millwall, all of the teams that have been around a while but haven't been back in the Premier League or in the top flight anyway for a long, long time. And I'm always there rooting on the underdogs. So whatever comes tomorrow, you guys have got my backing. As long as it's not Middlesbrough, the big boys, they're prepped, ready to go. You can even put Sunderland in that bracket. But there, of course, are established Premier League team that have been. I didn't want them to get. I know they're listening in and they're waiting to come on, but I didn't want them to get promoted last season because I thought this would happen. They would be double promotions, and now even with the Mowbray mix in there, it is a little sweeter. But Nick, any closing comments before I let you go? And bring on the next crop of folks here.
Nothing particularly deep and meaningful, Dirk. This is what football's all about. The playoff system has been around a long time now, but every season it produces this kind of intense. This is drama, isn't it? This is what it's all about tomorrow. So win or lose, what I've said to people around me is that you don't forget these kinds of moments. This is what football's for, and long may it continue. So. For the Premier League to contain one of Luton, Middlesbrough, Coventry, Millwall, even Sunderland have not had a great time of it in recent years. I just think it's fantastic. It's a tribute to the English game, in my opinion.
Well, thanks again, Nick, and of course, appreciate your time on a Sunday, and have a good one. Well, hopefully you have a terrible one, but in a good way. But,
You're welcome. Good to see you, boys. Take care.
Thank you. That was Nick, of course, Acton Millwall podcast, giving his thoughts. I'm joined by Double Trouble here. Do you guys know each other, Paul, Bradley?
Yeah, well, we're both on the same channel.
Well, there we go. That's good. That's good. So. Just to keep, I've got a couple other guys waiting there. This is not how I was hoping to do this podcast, but this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it team by team. So Coventry, West Brom, relax. Put your feet up a little bit, unless we want to. I know Bradley's got a busy day, so we're going to smash this out here. Paul, if you've got a longer time to stick around, then we might get a little bit creative with the back end of this podcast. But anyway, Bradley, Paul, welcome to, of course, talking about the final day of the championship season. Sunderland, let me go. Where are you? I've got to bring up my stuff here. I'm all about my own game. I really don't know who you're playing, but you are taking on. Who are you taking? Remind me.
Preston.
Oh yeah, okay. So usually I'd want you guys to tonk them buggers down the road. But of course, I'm going to try and come at this with an unbiased point of view without my blue and white tinted glasses. But of course, tell me about your season. How's it been? Of course, change of managers. We'll get to the manager in a minute. But did you anticipate to be here at the end of the season?
To be honest, I didn't expect us to be here where we are currently, to be honest.
Bradley?
No, I wasn't expecting it whatsoever. I thought we'd have been in the bottom half of the table fighting for relegation, to be honest. But no, double promotion could be on the cards. Who knows?
Who knows in bloody deed. Of course, so you did change manager. Of course, Alex Neil was the guy at the start of the season. I was a little bit surprised that he switched myself to Stoke. Sunderland, of course, come with a huge reputation, no matter that they've just been promoted from League One, but they're a big club regardless. To be tempted by that. How were your thoughts when that transpired the way it did? It was Paul first.
Well, Brad will tell you, I actually wasn't happy when Alex Neil actually left. Because the way it is, he was actually due to take that Norwich game. But the day before, he was actually due to meet the media. The club actually cancelled his press conference. Then they scheduled it again, and then they cancelled it. I was like, something's happening there. And then, we found out he was in talks with Stoke. I was like, how can you leave Sunderland?
How can you leave Sunderland? A power team, power club that should be in the Premier League. It is of course, a classic traditional club. And I did just say to the Millwall fella that, I didn't want you guys promoted because I knew this was going to happen. I had a feeling that Sunderland have the backing, have the infrastructure already ready to challenge. And to be honest with you, I anticipated a top 10, if not a playoff spot for you guys. Bradley, of course, Mowbray came in, of course, ex-Rover. Were you happy about that appointment at the time, or has he grown on you since?
To be honest, at the time, I wasn't Mowbray's first choice, to be honest with you. I wasn't Mowbray's first choice whatsoever, but throughout the season, like throughout January, February, he's proved me wrong completely. Obviously, between February and March, he sometimes has a bit of blip, apparently Blackburn fans have been saying. Well, he could draw games, he lost a couple of games on the bounce, and obviously, soon as March is finished, April comes so he can start winning games again. That's apparently what I've been told by Jacob. I don't know if that's correct.
Well, it seems to be the way. And of course, I think that with the end of the season, traditionally with Mowbray, he seems to win those sort of games. But that's one when there's no pressure on the line. So I don't know how it will be for Sunderland tomorrow. But Paul, let's get the magical one now, and let's say you beat Preston, everything else goes your way, you make the playoffs, and you even actually go to the promised land of the Premier League. Are you built for the Premier League, or do you see yourselves having to spend big to kind of keep up with the big boys, or what would you envision happening for the Mackhams?
Oh, that's tough, isn't it?
at the moment, especially with our the board at the moment, I don't think we're actually ready at the moment to go up.
Do you see the likes of your striker, of course, who's been out injured throughout the season, and the name escapes me at the moment. Do you see him sticking around if you get promoted, or do you think he'll still be considering his options no matter what?
I actually hope he sticks around, but at the moment the club hasn't sorted his contract out.
Yeah, I think that's a similar thing with Diaz, even though he's kind of, I think he's already 2 feet out the door, and his performances have been that way. So Bradley, what about yourself? What are your take on the club and the likelihood, bringing maybe Diallo back for another season, maybe if you are in the Premier League? Do you think that's a possibility?
I really wish he did come back, to be honest, in the Premier League, Dirk. I really wish he could, but apparently he's going abroad next season. Apparently, I've been hearing from some sources that from the Sun, and apparently James Copley said there's been quite a few sources from him as well. But no, what Paul's just mentioned before, are Premier League ready yet? Possibly not, but I think we're going to do kind of like a Nottingham Forest, spend like 100 million, because apparently if we get promoted, we could get about 160, 170 million or something like that if we get promoted through playoffs. Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to try and get some decent quality players in. That's what we need to do to stay in that league, because if we don't, then it will just be a relegation fall again back to the Championship, where we started. Basically, we don't want double relegations once again.
Right. Paul, so there was also rumours of Sunderland already looking for a different manager, regardless of the successes of Tony Mowbray. I don't know if you saw that. It was as a foreign coach, an Italian young guy has been linked with Sunderland. Do you think that's a bit of a slap in the face for Mowbray, or do you think that kind of move is justified?
It is a slap in the face for him, especially the way how well he's done this season. But apparently, our sporting director Christian Speakman went into Tony Mowbray and said, "Your job is actually safe for next season."
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
Mowbray said he actually wants to stay as well.
Yeah, well, I thought when he left us and his contract was up and he wanted to spend more time with the family, this job was tailor-made for him. It was a little controversial with his Middlesbrough links and things like that, but I think he's done a fantastic job. I don't know if I want to see him drag you guys up, because it has a bitter pill for me, because he got us close past season. We were close, and to think that he got you guys up in the first season, it will be a bitter pill. But anyway, we're gonna go get a bit creative here.
Do you actually think? If we went up, do you think Mowbray would be the manager for us in the Premier League?
I think he would be there to begin with. Yes. So I just don't think. I think depending on how your fortunes are, if you're struggling or whatnot, if you'll stick around, because that's the clubs need to pull the trigger when teams are struggling. So we're going to try and do this. If I can get this up again, it seemed to work last time. Well, I don't know how we'll approach this. Maybe we'll do Bradley first and Paul second, just to kind of your predictions on these games, to get an unbiased point of view for the other matches and see who ends up in the top 6. So Bradley, you go first. I think you might have got a busy agenda on your day. So I appreciate you giving up your time. What do you think is going to happen with your game? Or do you want to do another game first? Or let's get yours out of the way.
We'll go Preston and Sunderland. We'll do ours first.
Go on then. What do you think?
So obviously Ryan Lowe, Preston manager, he's got a free-band touchline, so he's not moving on the touchline for tomorrow's game. But that doesn't mean that Preston can't obviously score against us, because obviously they can. But Sunderland, they've got some great talent players. Like you said, Amad Diallo, I think he's going to have his last game tomorrow away, but hopefully that's going to be the playoffs as well. Added to it, hopefully, fingers crossed, if we win and every result goes our way. Obviously, we've got like Jack Clark, Patrick Roberts, few wing players as well who can actually provide a threat force towards other teams in the Championship. Obviously, this season as well, we have been out without strikers and without centre-backs as well, because obviously Dan Ballard and Danny Buff's been out injured the last couple of weeks as well. And I thought we've done amazingly well, because Mowbray has changed his formation and he's changed his style of football. We're back three instead of a back four. Obviously, putting 09 in the middle of the back three and putting Lyndon Gooch and Cirkin on the left and the right. But for this one, Preston versus Sunderland, I'm thinking we'll win this comfortably. I'm going to go 2-0 Sunderland for this game.
2-0 Sunderland. Okay. What about the other games there? If you want to kind of throw some scorelines at me, what do you think about the Borough Coventry City?
Kind of Middlesbrough need to do us a favour if we need to go to playoffs. So for me, Coventry are a good side as well. Obviously, the highest goal scorer in the second highest goal scorer, in the Championship. I think it's Victor Gyökeres, very good player. I'll probably say Middlesbrough will actually win this one. Obviously, they've had a downfall against Rotherham, 1-0 to Rotherham the other day. Obviously, Diviskill got sent off for Middlesbrough. So I'll probably say 2-1 Borough for this one.
2-1 Borough. Okay, nice. Against the kind of gives other teams a little bit of hope. What about Swansea West Brom?
Swansea and West Brom, I don't know much about, but obviously West Brom's fighting for the playoffs as well. Obviously, the only way that they can get playoffs, apparently, if they beat Swansea 4-0, but I don't think they're going to do that. But you never know in football. Who knows in football these days? But you know what? I'm going to say a 2-2 draw for that one.
Draw. Okay, and then finally, the one I'm kind of worried about, or get a little bit concerned about, Millwall taking on Blackburn Rovers at the Den. For me, Blackburn has lost quite a few games. They've drawn a couple of games as well, though. I've just been up and on before. Obviously, Millwall has lost a couple as well and won a few. We won Blackpool 4-2 last week, I think. So possibly... what am I saying? You know what? Flip it. I'm going to say a 2-1 Blackburn. Wow. Okay. Now, if you are right and it works out that way, I'm going to get my calculator out and, of course, reveal that Sunderland make it into 5th. Coventry will be in 6th. Blackburn Rovers will be in 7th, according to my calculator, which I cannot display on the screen at the moment. I've got all sorts going on here. But anyway, that's Bradley's point of view. We're going to go bring on Paul now. What are your hopes and dreams for these games? Let me just update this graphic here and get Bradley's scores on there for you, so we can all see them in all their glory. So that's what you, Bradley, hopes. What about Paul? Same score, same games. What are your hopes and dreams for Preston up against Sunderland?
Well, the way Brad will tell you, our home form under Tony Mowbray isn't good, but actually our away form is. So I'm actually going to go 3-0 Sunderland.
3-0 Sunderland.
I'll have to pop off now, guys. Just letting you know.
No worries. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate you coming on Sunday.
No worries.
Have a good one. Hopefully you lose.
Bye-bye.
We have got a Coventry City guy just about to join us shortly, and Jaden with West Brom. Jacob is also in the house, getting ready, sticking his makeup on. Okay, sorry, Paul. So your big 3-0 victory, you think, for the Mackems away from home?
I'm actually going to Preston as well tomorrow.
Oh well, good luck, safe travels. What about the Borough, already in the top 4, up against, of course, Coventry City, one of the best badges in the EFL.
I'm thinking Middlesbrough boys try and, after their recent results away, after their losses, I think they'll hopefully try and get a victory at home. So I was going to go 2-1 Middlesbrough.
2-1 to the Borough. Of course, that we'll put there. Well, they're already there, of course. And just like Nick said from Millwall, they've been a bit of a slump, have Borough. They need to get back to winning ways if they want to take form into the equation. And of course, into the back two now, we've got Swansea against West Brom. What do you see for that game over in Wales?
Well, it's interesting actually because we just played West Brom and
the Baggies with they've got an outside shot, better chance than Rovers, I think. But what do you think will happen in Swansea? Swansea are a decent side as well. They've also they can beat play when they're on their days. Well, Russell Martin I think might be auditioning for the Norwich City job, so I'm hoping he'll put on a display and at least dent West Brom. What do you think? What's the scoreline for you on that one?
I'm actually going to go 2-0 Swansea.
2-0 Swansea. That would give me a little hope. In fact, when I look at that, actually, yeah, we ain't going to make it good to yours. And then, of course, for me, the big one in the end here, Millwall, Rovers, down at the Den. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, I want you to do us another favour. I know you done one for us the other week, but I want you to do another one for us. So I'm going to go the same as Brad. 2-1 Blackburn.
2-1 Rovers. Now, let me do my wizardry here and try and bring the scoreline up. We'll go back a bit there. What do you say? You said 2-1 Rovers. You said 2-1 Coventry. You said 2-0. And you said a big 3-0 for Sunderland. Okay, I think it's pretty similar to Brad's. Sunderland 5th, Coventry 6th, Millwall 8th, and Rovers 7th. West Brom go down 10th. Wow. Okay, so that's your take on it. Of course, and like you said, you are traveling to Preston. I think I might try and bring some of you guys back again for the actual playoffs for a discussion. And of course, if you are fortuitous to be in the mix there, but really deep down in your belly, do you think you're going to make top 6 despite your predictions? Do you think everything's going to go your way and the Mackems make it, or do you think it's not going to be the case?
Well, to be honest, I've always said, whatever happens tomorrow, even if we get in the top 6 or not, I'm actually proud of the way this season's been.
Yeah, that's the right answer. It's just like me, we're hoping to be in the top 6, but it's been a good season. New manager, we haven't really spent anything. But Paul, I appreciate you. You can stick around if you like. I'm going to try and bring the rest of the troops on here all in one go, and we'll have a bit of chaos.
I've got to go anyway, but I'll see you later.
I appreciate it. Okay, so here we go. This is what we were hoping to have. We were hoping to have a bit of back and forth. Miles, appreciate lastminute.com stand-in, comes in out of nowhere. We got Jaden. Tell you what, West Brom fans are hard to find on Twitter. I don't know where they are. They must be hiding under a rock. But you, appreciate you coming in, Jaden. And, of course, Jacob, face of the place. And of course, look at that good-looking fella right there, Jaden. Jacob, of course. But anyway, so we are here. All three of the 5. We've heard from Nick. We just heard from the Mackems there. Let's kick it all off with a bit of Mowbray, eh? A bit of Mowbray. We all know Mowbray. We don't like Mowbray now. He's gone. Yeah, we'll start with Miles. Give me your best Mowbray memory of when he was there for Coventry City. Sky Blues fan, can you hear me?
When he signed Ryan Kent, Jacob Murphy, Adam Armstrong, when he signed all those players for us on loan, absolutely superb. But then, bless him, he had to leave. He got us close to the playoffs. But he had to leave, and he didn't take a wage. He let the wages go back into the club because we needed it, because we were sinking. We were going down faster than the Titanic.
Wow, what a respect. I think his second season there wasn't the best. Of course, I think they parted ways. But if you were to sum him up, do you like the Mowbray or do you not like the Mowbray?
For me, I don't mind him. He's all right, and he's experienced. He's done a great job at Sunderland. He went up there, and I think their fans were not very happy with Alex Neil leaving, and Mowbray's come in. He's had a mixed fortunes with his results, but he's kept them in there. He's kept them in with a shout, and he's done a fantastic job. To be honest with you, the guy steadies the ship, doesn't he? When he comes in, and with his experience, I mean, you can't ask for any more. It's a bit like Sam Allardyce, and them sort of managers can come in and just steady the ship a little bit, get a little bit of balance on the field, and yeah, they might have a few results that don't go their way, but they've managed to stick it there, and they're in with a shout, aren't they?
They are in with a shout. Jaden, are you there? Of course, for West Brom.
Yeah, I'm here, Ducky. Okay.
I'm good. I'm glad you could join us here on a Sunday. I don't know if your memory stretches back to when Mowbray was manager of West Brom. How was it?
I was young. I think it was 2008. It was, so I was quite young. From the days when my dad was a West Brom supporter as well. When we had like Kevin Phillips, when the Chris Brunt days. He did wonders for us, getting us promotion and stuff like that. But as I say, obviously, I could just remember the days when I was a young lad, and my dad would be screaming, obviously, when we got promotion and stuff like that. But yeah, Tony Mowbray, he's a good manager, as I say. He's done wonders for Sunderland when he came to us when they played us and they beat us 2-1. He's played us off the park, to be honest. But from the days, it was really good.
Yeah, Jacob, of course, still fresh in the memory with all of us. What's your overriding feeling about Mowbray? Of course, everyone. I'll chuck mine in there. I was happy to see him go because I think he did enough for us. I'm a little bit envious of where they are right now. But what about you, Jacob? What's your thoughts?
I think similar sort of thoughts, really. I think it's typical that every single time we'd be going for playoffs, he'd bottle it, and if he's to get it this time, first time, didn't even start the season with Sunderland, and to get playoffs, it'd just be a bit of a smack in the face to us, I suppose. So out of all the clubs, as much as I love the Sunderland fans who we've just had on and whatnot, Sunderland would be the worst of the clubs to make it, to be honest with you, just for that reason. But in terms of Mowbray, he's a class act in it. I mean, I think it's been a bit sour grapes since leaving. I think obviously towards the end, there was a few comments, weren't there, saying Sunderland's like a sports car and Blackburn's like an something along those lines. Anyway, obviously, I don't think the owners treated someone who did what he did for the club in the 5 years he were here, get us out the pits of League One, stabilise us as a top half Championship club who every single season really pushing for playoffs. They didn't treat him right. They should have been honest and frank with him about, this is your last season. We're gonna have a change in direction. They could have handled it a lot better, but that's our owners for you, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the Venkies. So let's turn the clock back now to August. Miles with Coventry City. Not the greatest start for Coventry. A lot of off-the-field dramas with the ground and having to stall your first handful of home games. But what were your thoughts at the back in August? Do you think did you consider yourselves to be contenders, even though last season you were a decent side last season, fell a little short towards the end, but did you really have the hopes and dreams to be?
No. I mean, I think I say it every season that we're going to finish sixth, but I mean, it would have been an improvement on last season, even if it was one place. The club has been moving in the right direction for the last 6 years since Mark Robins come in. And when the start of the season came, it was early, wasn't it? It was 31st of July that we played our first game against Sunderland, drew 1-1 up there. And it was a start of a season that we didn't really want. We couldn't play a game week in, week out. We had to wait 2 weeks for a game. We went to Millwall. We were 2-0 up, and we blew it. And going into October, we were bottom of the league. And when you got a situation like we had, it was just wasn't acceptable for any football club. And when we were at the bottom of the league in October, and you're thinking, oh my God, where's the first win going to come from? And lo and behold, the first win was against Middlesbrough, who we're playing tomorrow. So, maybe it's a good omen. But then, our club's just been a shambles for the last probably 19 years, 22 years when we dropped out the top flight of football. Really, the club's been an absolute shambles. And I know there's other teams out there that have been worse off, like Bury and everyone else that have gone out of business completely. And but we had two over the years. We've had two. Administrations. We've had points deductions. We've played at Birmingham, Northampton, but when the season kicked off and we couldn't play at home, it was just absolutely awful. And then, going into that October, being bottom of the league, you just thought, as long as we stay up, that's it. That's all that matters. And we got the lowest budget in the league, and that Mark Robbins and the backroom staff have just done an absolute amazing job. And I think the key to this was that we've kept all the top players. We didn't let anyone go. And bearing in mind that we've done this with injuries all season. We started with injuries up front. We only had Victor playing. We didn't have a striker. We had one striker for the start of the season. Matty Godden got injured. Then we had injuries at the back, and we were playing with our central midfield, Josh Eccles. He was playing at right wing back. So we didn't have a right wing back, didn't have a full centre backs. And then all of a sudden, all our midfielders get injured. So, we've been fighting against it all season. But I think with the way our management is, that it's the team spirit. And when you look at the boys and you see them together, that you can see a massive team spirit there. And I don't think it matters how big the squad is. It's all about the team spirit, and the boys have got it. I was out last Saturday, and they were all out together. Every single player was out together, having a night out together, enjoying themselves, chatting to the fans. Was at the Players' Awards last Sunday. The players couldn't get enough of the fans talking to them, having pictures taken, and it's just miraculous how we are where we are. It's fantastic, and whatever happens tomorrow, it happens. And if we end up being in the playoffs, happy days. If we miss out, it don't matter, because it's just been an absolute roller coaster of a season. It's been fantastic. It's just been out of this world. It really has. It's been absolutely out of this world. We could never dream of any more, And then to come up to you guys 2 weeks ago, and Ben Wilson gets a late equaliser in 95th minute. It was like that was dreams. That's just dreams come true. Who would have thought? And when you see that sort of thing happening. When you see that sort of thing happening, it starts to make you believe that the stars are aligning and it's meant to be. I know it sounds daft, doesn't it? It sounds really daft, but this season's just been phenomenal. I mean, we didn't even have a club shop at Christmas. No, couldn't even buy any merchandise at Christmas. This is, and when it reopened, we all celebrated. It's just normal. It's normal life of being a Cov City fan. And now Doug King's come into the fold. I mean, the bloke's a breath of fresh air. He's absolutely superb. The guy's fantastic. And he comes out, he talks to the fans. I mean, this is an example of how good he is, right? They released the season tickets this week, right? They released the season ticket prices. There was uproar about the season tickets, right? Because they said, it's too expensive for the kids, under 14s, under 12s. So guess what he did? He listened to all the feedback. He's gone back the next day. He's come out and he's gone, right, we're doing this. We're reducing the season tickets.
Wow.
That's what you call an owner. That is absolutely spot on. And that's the difference with our club now. We've got people listening to the fans, and you need the fans to be listened to. And you all know this. You've been through it. West Brom are going through it now. I think they've been protesting week in, week out about their owners. So, it's about time that owners have started listening to the fans, and our owner listened to the fans, changed it all. And do you know what? We're in the playoffs. We haven't had Callum O'Hare all season virtually. Come back for about 5 games, got injured again. ACL, he's out. Callum O'Hare, our best player by far, along with Vic and Hamer. And we've missed him. Casey Palmer. We ain't spent no money as well. Don't forget, we spent no money. We didn't buy a player. We haven't bought one player. We got one player in the summer on a free, Casey Palmer. The rest have been in loans in January. We were getting excited in January because we were signing 4 players. We've never done that for 19 years.
Well, the momentum is with Coventry. They got the hottest striker in the in the league, and you never know. The stars may be aligned. Jaden, though, coming at you, maybe one of the outsiders like us Rovers. Well, we shouldn't have been outsiders. We should have been in the mix, really, and sort of established our spot. But West Brom coming here with a difficult game against Swansea. What if we turn the clock back again? Was Wilder in charge at the start of the season? I can't remember who your
No, it
gaffer
was Steve
was.
Bruce.
Steve Bruce. Oh yeah, right. I could remember if Wilder was the guy. I think he was at Borough then, I guess. So if turn the clock back, Bruce, I think he must have continued then from last season. Did you have hopes back in August that you'd be in the playoffs or no?
Well, before he come, obviously he joined before the season, and I had high hopes. I had high hopes for him doing well. And then obviously I bought myself a season ticket, and bear in mind I bought myself a season ticket in a very long time. And yeah, from the start, it was awful. Absolutely awful. Going to the game, it was dreadful. The football was awful. And I remember actually turn that back when we drawed against Burnley on Watford. It was when Ismail Sarr scored that absolute banger against us from halfway line. And you know, like we was drawing games, and there was big games drawing, and then it just got draws, and then losses. I think it was absolutely awful. And talking about when Miles talking about how his owners are great, I'm jealous, absolutely jealous. So many protests for our owner Guchan Lai. He just doesn't do anything. He's took out a loan, which you know that's really done us over. He's not paid it back, and it's horrible at the moment at the club. Surprisingly, obviously the fans are still getting together, and obviously you know doing all good for all of us. But as I say, the club at the minute it's not nice. It's very toxic at the moment. But we've obviously, as I say, with Steve Bruce, I'm just glad he's went. We should have sacked him a lot earlier. But Ron Goulet, I don't know why we appointed him either. Honestly, ridiculous. I don't understand it at all, because he's best friends with Steve Bruce, so he kept him on his long time. And yeah, it's just, as I say, when Steve Bruce is in charge, I think I went to about 6 home games and then I never went again until he was sacked. He was gone.
But change of manager. Copperhand come in. I think he's an exciting manager, but again, he's hit some had bumpy roads throughout the season. There was a good bit of time where I thought West Brom were going to steamroll into those top 6, but you kind of wiggled your way into contention now, and maybe more to the shitty form of teams like Blackburn Rovers, Millwall maybe give you an outside shot of it. But Carlos, much better under him. Yeah,
I think when he took over, I think we was dead last. I'm pretty sure we was last. And we had like 14, 16 points. I don't know what it was. But he's done wonders at the club. As I say, he's made, obviously when Steve Bruce was in charge, none of the players wanted to play for him. And then obviously when he took over, I think his first game against Sheffield United at home, we lost 2-0. But he's rebuilt the squad. He's done really well. As I say, obviously, there was some links of him when he was going to get to Leeds when they sacked their manager. So it was quite worrying for us, because that would just, I don't know who would have appointed then. But as I say, he's done absolutely wonders. He's turned the squad around. And you know, for me, I think it's a little too late for the playoffs, in my opinion. Obviously, as you know, the championship is a different story. Anything can happen, but for me, I think it's a little too late. I think we sacked Steve Bruce a bit late, and you know, if we brought in Carlos Corberán a lot earlier, you know, we would have been up there. But as you say, there's been some results where it's been quite iffy. Likes of, like, you know, the game against QPR when played at home, we was 2-0 up, and they were battling for relegation, awful form. And you know, we played from the back, and then I don't know who scored the goal, but it was Josh Griffiths tried to play the ball out, and then it just ricocheted into the goal. Games like that, where you know, if we would be on 69 points now, we'd be where Coventry is. Do you know what I mean? We'd be okay. But for me, I think it's a little too late. I think he should rebuild the squad for next season, and I think he'll be definitely up there.
And just a final on Carlos. Do you think he will be there next season? You don't think there's any worry with the owner and you know, and relationship between owner and manager? Is it good? Is it strong? If Leeds go down, would they?
It all depends because, as I say, obviously, if we don't go down, if we don't go up, I think there was some kind of talk about us going into an administration if the loan don't get paid, which would be quite worrying for us because obviously we're a big club, so it'd be worrying for us. And I think because Sam Allardyce is in charge of Leeds, and I think he's to the end of the season. If he goes down, they will be looking for a manager. So you never know what happens. I'm hoping he stays but he does love the fans. He always, every time like we win or something, he always does that to his badge, to the badge. So obviously that's high hopes for him staying. But you never know. It all depends, obviously, what the owners, because we don't know what's going on at the club. So yeah.
Okay. Well, Jacob, of course, we've been talking throughout the season constantly, and you've been there, you've been watching Rovers. But let's turn the clock again back to August. JDT, breath of fresh air coming in, new manager. I don't know. We had our own sort of build up to the end of the season podcast. But back then, if we could get to the Jacob back in August, did you think we'd be where we are at the end of this campaign?
I think, to be fair, I think we all did our pre-season predictions, and I think I was the most positive, surprisingly. I think I did predict about 7th or 8th, which we could very well end up finishing. Did I think we'd make playoffs? I definitely wouldn't have thought that. But obviously, as the season goes on, your expectations change. I mean, who would have thought Watford wouldn't be anywhere near the playoffs? You know what I mean? Norwich, not even in contention in the final game. What's just mental to think, really, that, two of the teams that always come down and seem to bounce back up straight away aren't even in the sniff of playoffs going into the final game. I think this season has, been so open for teams like us, really, like Coventry, like Millwall. Just give us a bit of hope, really, that we can still do something in this league, even without the money. But yeah, I mean, start of the season, obviously, such a young squad. We lost our captain, Darragh Lenihan, to Middlesbrough. Lost Ryan Nyambe, first team right back to Wigan, and obviously Joe Rothwell buggered off to Bournemouth. Most assists last year. So going into this season, everyone said it's going to be a transition year, and we have overachieved to be where we are right now. That is for sure. To be fair.
Yeah, it was a good start though. I think we were. Yeah, I think I got a little bit too excited back in the start of the season, but well, enough about that. So bringing it back to Miles, of course, let's just say, I know the stars you say are aligning, and you think you might be onto something here with Coventry City. And let's just say you're right, the stars are aligning. Coventry City not only secure their playoff berth, but also secure the return to the top flight. When we look at the team, like you said,
that's big talk.
It is big talk, but of course you do have some players who I think are already made for the Premier League. Victor's been linked with everybody, like Burnley recently, of course, but also some of the teams already in the Premier League. Hamer's been a fantastic player ever since he's arrived. Even your keeper's solid; he can score goals. Maybe illegally or not, but it doesn't really know about that. But
it was an handball.
Whatever. I think you need to go to Specsavers, mate. But let's just say your team. How much of a rebuild is needed? How much of a rebuild is needed for Coventry? Do you expect a Forest kind of thing, or do you think more of a cautious approach, especially with your owners? A lot of these clubs that are in the mix are not, like Middlesbrough, I think are the only one realistically have been in the top flight in the last 10, 12 years or whatever. And I don't think I can see them spending money, but I just don't know about Coventry. What do you think if all your stars align and you make it to the Premier League?
I think it's a massive ask if we do get into the Premier League, but I think if they're going to do anything, we've got to keep what we've got and then strengthen the squad. I can't see us going out and spending money on 25 players or whatever it is Chelsea and Forest have done, to build a team. I think we've got to keep the core of the team. I remember early on in the season, one of the commentators said when we were playing, he watched it back, and he mentioned about Coventry that you can tell that we've been a team that's been together for three seasons. or 4 seasons. So some of the players are still in there from League One, and you can see it, as I say, with the team morale. So I think what we've got to try and do, the key is keep what we've got so far. Maybe go and sign, hopefully go and approach Burnley for Luke McNally. He's been an absolute breath of fresh air since he came in January, because you stole Dom Hyam off us for peanuts just to pay for our pitch. I think that's what we've got to try and do, is just build the team ready around the team that we've got. So gradually introduce players. I believe that if we do that and we get the right players in, because Robbins won't want superstars to come in who think they're bigger than Mark Robbins, think they're bigger than the club. He wants players that are hungry for the game. We've made mistakes with players like Waghorn that are taking a pension wage, for their probably last season they're ever going.
Hopefully, Miles is not gone completely. Oh, he's there. He's hanging in there, Miles.
We've just got to try and build around that team. And I believe that the way that we play football, I believe that we probably, a big probably, could stay in the Premier League because of the way we play football. But it's massive, isn't it? It's a massive jump. Even from League One to the Championship, it's a massive jump. And the key was the first season was to stay in the Championship when we came up, and we did it. And now we're nearly in the promised land. But look, and anything can happen. Like Jacob said about this league this season, it's been absolutely mental, isn't it? Anyone could beat anyone. Anyone could draw with anyone. It's just been absolutely ridiculous this season. But if we get in the playoffs, we'll give it a good go. If we come back down, we'll do a Norwich, go up, down. And who cares? It don't matter. We're on a high. The club's moving in the right direction. I'm so sorry, Brom, getting a loan out and having to pay it back and might go into administration. It's awful in this day and age of football that a club's having to get a loan out to keep the club going. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, who knows? Let's see.
Yeah, well, I'll take that as you're moving on. So we'll move on to Jaden there, but also just want to put a little nugget on the end of Miles was saying that, and also with West Brom's scenario with the loan. I was just reading about Wigan's players. Man, they're lucky to get paid. So Miles might come back. He's probably just I don't know what's he doing. Whatever, forget it. Well, he'll come back. Jaden. So of course, of the teams that are in the contention for final day, I think you and Middlesbrough have the players that are decent enough already. You're Swift, Jed Wallace. You got Darryl DK, who of course been injury prone this season. Dean Ganga is still there, right? Am I right?
He's still there. He's just injured at the moment.
Yeah, you've got a lot of quality there, and I think you guys deserve. One of the stronger teams, the Watfords, and I know they might be mismanaged, also Norwich a little bit, but definitely got the players to definitely get there. And also, I don't think as much of a rebuild as the likes of Coventry, maybe Blackburn Rovers, Millwall might be needed to survive. What are your take on the squad? And if you are to go to back to the top flight, what do you anticipate your summer would be like?
The squad depth is really good. As I say, obviously you talk about Jed Wallace. I don't think Jed Wallace has ever been in the Premier League, though. If I can recall, I don't think he's never been in there. Same as John Swift, I don't think. So obviously going up would be a big step for them. But as I say, squad depth, it's really good. We've got that new lad, Brandon Thomas Asante. We signed for like 800 million from Salford. He's been quality. He has fought for the club. I think he scored 7 goals this season, and he joined halfway into the season. So he's done really, really well. From going up, for me, I think we'll go straight back down. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I think, as I say, talking about that loan, I think that loan's just. I think if we go up, I don't know how much you get. I don't know how much you get when you go up, but I think obviously paying off that loan will be massive for us. If we don't go up, it'll be a struggle. But going into the Premier League, I think we'll really, really struggle. I think Carlos Corberan, if we go into the Premier, I think he'll just rebuild the squad. In my opinion, like to be fair, like watching like John Swift and that and Jed Wallace, like they're good players, but sometimes they do underperform. And I think everyone expected them to come into the team and absolutely do wonders for us. And they're having some occasions, but for the Premier League, do I think they're good for the Premier League? No. For me, no. I don't think John Swift and Jed Wallace are good for the Prem. So I think obviously if he go up, I think he'll rebuild the squad. I think obviously hopefully he keeps Alex Palmer in goal. I think Bartley, he'll go. I don't know why we still have him. Dara O'Shea, I think he's a quality player. I think obviously keeping him as a captain and keeping him at the back would do really well. Furlong, no, I don't think he's good enough for the Prem, in my opinion. For midfield, Yakushlu, hopefully we'll sign him again. He's been an absolute quality player in that CDM role. He's so calm on the ball. And hopefully we get him if we go up again. Jason Malumbi, he's been a bargain. I think he'll do wonders in the Prem as well. He just gets stuck in. Good player. Dean Garner. I didn't see Dean Garner's hit and miss. When he was in the Prem, when we had Slaven Bilic, he didn't do really good, to be honest. He didn't do that good in the Premier League. But when obviously in that one season when we had Slaven Bilic in the Championship, he was like the wonder player. He did absolutely wonders. But with his injury, hopefully he comes back and hopefully he's fit and he does really well. Carlin Grant needs to sell. Not a Premier League player at all. Good Championship level. I don't know. For me, I think Carlin Grant is not good enough. He's very lazy. When we watched him at Sunderland, like Carlos Corberán is trying to play him on the wing as a 4-2-3-1, and he's centre mid, right mid, left mid striker. He just doesn't know what to do. And for me, Daryl DK, injury prone. He's done his ACL when he did it at Stoke. He's going to be out for a long, long while. So striker areas, if we go up, would need to be new. We'd have to get. I think we just have to rebuild the squad. I think all I'd probably keep is Dara O'Shea, Alex Palmer, Yakushlu, Dean Garner, Townsend. You see, I like Townsend. I'm not gonna lie, I do like Townsend. I think he's a good player. He fights for the club. He loves the club. But for Premier League standards, I don't know, Dirk. I'll be honest. I don't know. I think for me, I'd just rebuild the squad.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's one of them with a lot of these us five anyway. And even Luton, I don't know how they would fare. There's a lot of scrappers. Got a lot of scrappers of Luton, but have they got a lot of quality? I don't know. But to Jacob, what about your take on Rovers squad? Yeah, well, I look at it and I'm excited for the future, but for the now and for the next season, if we would somehow fluke everything. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Like we played Leicester off the park. We did all right against West Ham. There is quality there, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to compete. What do you think?
No, I don't think we would compete in the Prem with what we've currently got. I think obviously.
Well, when I say compete, I mean like survive.
Survive in the Prem? No, no, I don't think so. I mean, Jaden's West Brom is probably. Realistically, out the three clubs, they're probably the strongest team on paper in terms of quality and whatnot. Obviously, I think, as Miles was saying, like not a lot of money spent at Coventry, not a lot of money spent with ourselves. It's more us relying on our youth academy. Obviously, similar sort of scenario with us. The last few games, we've not been able to even play a striker up front. We've had to mess around with playing Tyrese Dolan there, a winger and whatnot, which shows the frailties in the squad. And we're desperate for Sam Gallagher to come back, who, since signing him permanently, hasn't even hit double figures for us in terms of goals. And that's how desperate we are just to have a striker up front. So I think that paints a picture. I think, as Miles was saying before, obviously, the stars are kind of aligning for Cov with that Wilson goal last minute and whatnot. I think it's been the exact opposite for us.
Jacob, you can have Carl and Grant if you want.
After what you were just saying, I think we'll pass. But honestly, if we get a 20 goal the season striker next season, because obviously I can't see us making the playoffs, and even if we were, we definitely would not be getting promotion. It'd just be a good step to get it. I think we would be within a shout next season. We've got the likes of Adam Wharton coming through and whatnot, but I think, as Miles was saying, it's the stars of a line for Cov. It's been the exact opposite for us. You give us those 4 points, which we should have and could have had against Cobb, last minute, and then Preston last minute. You add those 4 points on, we're pretty comfy in the playoffs, aren't we? It's just been the exact opposite. It's been downhill. I mean, I can't even remember the last time we won in the league. I don't know how we're still in a position. Oh yeah, that is true, to be fair.
Yeah, no, Steve chipping in with a comment there saying, yeah, there's 20 goals per career. And he's pretty right, because it's just been woeful. So we're gonna go back round the house here. We'll start with Miles, and we're gonna bring up. Hopefully, I can bring up the graphic here, and we're gonna get your Mystic Meg hat on and kind of predict the outcomes.
Dirk, can I just ask a question to Miles?
Shoot.
Do you know where Victor Yocker is? Do you reckon even if you go up, he'll still go?
No, he'll stay if we go up.
You reckon? Yeah.
Yeah. He's already said. We interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and he does this celebration where he does this, and we're all asking him what it is, and he says, "Wait until we get into the Premier League."
Yeah,
that's what he said. So I think it's something to do with a contract or something. I think maybe they've already signed it and they're holding it back or something like that. But yeah, he'll stay if we go up. Yeah.
I question whether Diaz would stay if we were to go up in some dreamland as
well.
Isn't
he linked with Villarreal? Or yeah.
I think there's a pre-contract thing. If we don't make Premier League or whatever, or even whatever, I think he's gone. And I think if we do somehow do it, there's talks to be had. I think it's like 99.9 signed for Villarreal, but maybe there is a clause that if we were to get there, he can back out of it. But anyway, so Miles, we're going to put you under the spotlight here. These are the 4 games that really matter for the final day. Of course, Coventry are in the driving seat, and of course, maybe even defeat could even leave you in the top 6, depending on what goes on elsewhere. But how do you see these games panning out? Let's start with, of course, Preston up against Sunderland. Of course, the Sunderland boys aren't here now to listen to your slander, so you can say what you like about them.
I'm on their pod later.
Oh, right, okay. So yeah, give us your short take on Preston, Sunderland down at Deepdale.
Well, I know. Look, listen. From experience, Preston's our bogey team. We've never won there in the league. Preston's a real tough place to go, and I heard their results earlier on. I think that's going to be really, really tight game, that one. I think Preston might have the edge because they're at home. It is a hard ground to go to, Preston. But I'm going to go for a draw with that one. I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. Okay, what about your own match up against Middlesbrough? Of course, they're already there, maybe even on a bit of a beach, maybe even on Blackpool Beach. They're just relaxing over there. Not into the tropicals, but they're taking the foot off the gas of late. Do you think you can capitalise on that?
Well, I don't think Middlesbrough want Sunderland in the playoffs, so I'm going to sit on the fence again on this one, guys. I said the other night on ours, just for the fun of it, I said that Middlesbrough would be 3-1 up with 10 minutes to go, and they'll go and accidentally let us score 2 goals to equalise. So I'm going to go 3-all.
Wow, that'll be a big game to watch. Of course, then you take a shot at Jaden's West Brom. We go to Wales, tricky side. You don't know which Swansea will show up though.
Yeah, again, Swansea's they're a real good team. Swansea, they're probably. Even though they're not in the top 6, Swansea are probably the best footballing side we've played this season, even above Burnley. The way they pass the ball around, they make you work off the ball. They keep the ball really, really well, Swansea. They're an absolutely fantastic team. I mean, we were 3-0 up at home and we conceded 3 late goals in 20 minutes and we drew 3-3. And like Jacob was saying now, you know where you've lost your points this season. That was one of them, where we should have got 2 more points. That would have really secured us in the playoffs now. But to be honest with you, it's a tough place for West Brom to go. West Brom have got a lot to do on this game. I'm going to go a draw with that again. I'm going 1-1.
Hopefully you're right. I'm liking the look at these. Okay, and then the one that's a bit of a double header, really. Millwall and Rovers we both can't make it. One of us could make it. How do you think Rovers will get on down at the Den.
Well, you need 15 goals to beat us.
Well, we don't really want to beat you. We want to join you. We want to join you.
You need 15 to overtake us. How many do you need to get over Millwall?
Just need to beat them, and then hope the other two games don't go in favour of Sunderland or West Brom. So right now it's looking good as long as you give us.
So how many goals do you need?
One.
1-0.
1-0.
1-0 Blackburn.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that all day long, man. Yeah, that's the way it should go. And if you're right, let me just do my maths over here, and I can see it in my own the calculator. And that would do it. That would be the dream ticket. Okay, you can come back on again. You can come back on the show anytime you like. 1-0 Rovers. That's it. Let's end the podcast right there. That's how it'll end. That puts us in 6th above Millwall and Sunderland and West Brom. But no, of course, we want to hear the words and wisdom of Jaden. Jaden, you're up next, of course. Difficult end of the season game for West Brom with a Swansea side who I said to who did I say? I don't know. Somebody that, Norwich, I know they're not in the mix, but, not worked out with, what's his name? Wagner or whatever. It's not worked out for him. Russell Martin is a canary at heart. Might be auditioning for that job, and he might want to put on a display at the end of the season. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the game, all the games. We'll kick it off with Preston against Sunderland. How do you think, with a Baggies hat on, do you think that will go?
I think for me, when Sunderland come to us, their away record has been phenomenal. When they played against us, to be fair, they played really good football. I mean, Amad Diallo, he's a handful to watch, and Jack Clark, even though he's a diving. Yeah, I'm not going to say the word. But yeah, for a prediction for this game, I said in a podcast when I did it with Swansea TV or something like that. I said Sunderland will beat this comfortably. I think Preston nothing to play for now. Hopefully they go out all steam and try and get the win against Sunderland. But for me, I'm going to go for a steady 2-0 Sunderland win. Unfortunately,
that already bursts our bubble on that one. Okay, then of course Middlesbrough already on the beach. Coventry in the driving seat. Could also meet in the playoffs the next game. They could be locking horns. I think would it be this game? It would be the other way around. It would be at the Rico or whatever they call it these days. So how do you see this dress rehearsal for that game going?
When Middlesbrough come to us, they didn't do really well, to be honest. I expected them to actually beat us on the day when they come to us, but we comfortably beat them 2-0. Coventry, another good side, to be honest. I think we went to their ground, they beat us 1-0 when Yokre scored that penalty. I think it was like the 90th minute, something like that. But for a prediction this game, it's a hard one. I think obviously Mars is going to love this one, but for prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-0 Coventry win. I think for me, I think Coventry, because they're so close to us, I do hope they do go up, to be honest. I do like Coventry as a club. But yeah, for a prediction, I'm going to go 1-0 Coventry.
1-0 Coventry. And then, of course, your boys, tricky game, Swansea. How do you anticipate could be your final game of the season, or it could not be your final game.
Yeah. Well, when they come to us, they beat us 3-2. They played really well against us, good football. I think that's when they're Obafemi. I'm pretty sure he's at Burnley now because he scored against us. But yeah, they played really well with us. It all depends. I mean, injuries are a massive part on our side. We've got Daryl DK out, Dara O'Shea out. I'm hoping he just bring in Bartley. For this game, because I don't understand why Carlos Corban's not playing him, to be honest, because John Swifty's got a hell of a free kick and he can whip a ball in, and obviously we've got Semi Ajoy, but for me Bartley, he can header a ball. I mean, he's not good with his feet, but he can header a ball. So, but for a prediction, I said this going to be 1-0 either team, but obviously I'm going to go on the fence and I'm going to go for a 1-0 West Brom win. But Keith Stroud's in charge for referee, and he's the worst referee I've ever watched. Honestly. So I said,
forgetting about Gavin Ward.
Yeah, I'll put on my Twitter. I said,
no, Stroud.
I said we was 1-0. I said we was going to be 1-0 up, and he's gonna give Swansea a penalty in the 95th minute. Yeah, anyway, and that's it. All the results are going to go our way, and then that's it. They're going to score 95th minute. But I'm going to go 1-0 West Brom. He's the worst referee, honestly.
1-0 West Brom. So if results go your way, then I'm thinking you might predict a Rovers win here, but we'll see. Rovers go to Millwall, final game of the season. How do you think my boys will get on with that lot?
Well, it's funny you say that because I played Millwall Football Club today. I play them at 2:00. So it's like, I play them soon, but I don't like Millwall. I'll be honest, I don't like them. I do like Blackburn as a club. I hate it when Ben Diaz scored that free kick. I don't know, Josh Griffiths didn't save that. But yeah, I'm going to go 4-0 Blackburn. 4-0 Blackburn. Let's have it.
I hope so.
Blackburn can't score goals right now.
You're gonna score.
That's brilliant.
Handball. You're gonna score handball. Just rewatch. 4-0 Blackburn. Sorry to all the Millwall fans. I don't like you.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. I don't see it happening, but it would be nice. So let me get my calculator out and whip that out, and that would see actually Coventry 5th, Sunderland make it into the playoffs according to your picks here. West Brom would be above us. And then Millwall will be below Rovers, and Rovers will be into 8th spot. That's how that pans out. And of course, we're going to wrap up the picks with Jacob. Rovers' point of view. How do you...
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I've got to go. I've got to shoot off.
Appreciate it. Appreciate coming on.
See you later.
No. Good luck. And
Cheers,
see you later. Okay, so Jacob, now you're on the hot seat with a Rovers hat on. How do you see these games? Of course, a lot of... we got Tony Mowbray against Preston. We don't like Preston. We don't really want to see Sunderland do well. How do you see that one going?
Unfortunately, I can't see a world where Preston allow themselves to beat Sunderland, to be honest, and give us some hope. I just couldn't see it at all. I mean, if they were. They're not going to go out. Obviously, they've got nothing to play for, and even if it was a final game where if they won, they'd be giving us a chance, obviously. So even if they drew, so I just can't see it. Unfortunately, that being one of the main reasons. So I'm going to go 2-0 Sunderland, and yeah, unfortunately, I think Tony Mowbray's going to be getting the playoffs.
You don't think he'll bottle it?
No, I just don't. I just think they'd be so Blackburn Rovers for us to have such bad luck under him, missing out so close some years, and obviously the fall-offs and everything, and for him to bugger off, and then within 8 months or whatever, get Sunderland's newly promoted team the playoffs. I think that would be so our luck, unfortunately.
Yeah, kind of. That's a sour way there for that to pan out. But anyway, so Preston, Neil, Sunderland 2. What about Middlesbrough up against Coventry? I think they're the form team. I think Coventry are up there anyway as one of the at least top 5 form teams for sure, winning, scoring, and I've been good at it. What did you think on that one, Beefy?
I mean, Middlesbrough obviously on the beach at this point. They can't get 3rd spot. They've got nothing to play for, really. Obviously, depending on this result, would depend on whether they get Cov or someone else in that 5th place spot. But, obviously Coventry have everything to play for. They're going through a rough patch as well, Middlesbrough. So it's Carrick's worst run of form since he's come to the club. And obviously, I would suspect that's obviously got a lot to do with them gaining the playoff spot and whatnot. They are at home, but I'll go with a 3-1 win to Coventry.
3-1 win for Coventry. Okay, that's nice. Wow. Big goals. Coventry got goals in them. Swansea against West Brom. Of course, now Jaden's buggered off. You can say what you like about West Brom. There's no retaliation, no comeback. Do all the trash talk you like.
Yeah, I think for some reason Swansea are going to get a win here. I think they're ending the season really well. And to be fair, they did the same thing last season, and everyone were tipping them for a playoff spot due to how well they ended last season, and seems to be happening again, I suppose. But they just seem to be in that run of form at the minute. It looked like they could even, make a late push for the playoffs, really. But
just outside, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, it wasn't to be. They kind of come from nowhere. But yeah, for some reason, I don't see the Baggies doing anything. I don't think it's been their year. I think with their squad and everything. Jaden was slating them before, but I think there's a few players which either Cov or Blackburn would kill for to have. Obviously, likes of John Swift and whatnot. Wallace, such a quality players, and they should be doing a lot better than they are.
They picked them both up, didn't they? Picked up Wallace and Swift, both kind of similar players on a free, and it's very envious for other clubs.
Which is a joke, really, and the fact obviously it should definitely at least be playoffs, but I'll go with a routine 1-0 win for Swansea.
1-0 Swansea, okay. And then, of course, the big one, Millwall against Rovers. According to what you were looking at here, even a win might not be enough, or will probably be not enough, unless you go for like a 52-0 win for Rovers. But how do you see it panning out?
Yeah, I think obviously Millwall at home is Millwall at home. I think if Rovers were at home, I'd be obviously a lot more confident. I don't think Millwall are the best team away from home. I think they play for a draw a lot when they're away. Obviously, they've got everything to play for here, as do we, but obviously it's such a far-fetched for us. We don't have goals right now in the team. As mentioned before, we're getting all excited about our 9-goal-a-season striker coming back this game, who will probably stink the place out knowing him. But I'll go with a 1-1 draw. We can't buy a win right now. We're win-loss. Gungo football for the first half of the season, and then for like the last 10 games or whatever, we haven't won, have we? It's just ridiculous how we're still even in this conversation, but we are. And then that's what I was hoping for, at least for my last watch along, whatever, to be in with a sniff. Of course, I'd rather be in the spot, but as long as we have something to fight for. But if your predictions are right, it will be Coventry in 5th. It will be Sunderland and Tony Mowbray in 6th. Millwall will keep above us. We'll be in 8th. What was our points haul last season? What did we get? Do you know? Not a clue. But
I think
this would be the first time it's come down to the final day since we dropped out, hasn't it? In a chance of playoffs. What's mind-boggling, thinking we had the likes of Rhodes and Gusted in the past.
Yeah. Well, we finished 8th last season with 69 points. If you're right, we would be 8th with 67 points. So Mowbray would get the same amount of points he got last season with this season with Sunderland. So whatever. But did I put that on the screen? There it is. There it comes on there.
I think that showed the quality of the league this year. I think it has been a lot poorer than usual, as I was saying before. Watford, Norwich, just not even a conversation at this point. Mind-boggling. But I think it has been a weak league this year, and it kind of worries you a bit for next season, really, because it can only get better, surely. There's some big teams that are going to be coming down from the Prem as well.
Yeah, and hopefully, no disrespect to those teams, but hopefully they have something a bit Sunderland about them, and they tank, and they, like Everton. I fear for Everton, even with Sean Dyche. I think they've got a lot of high-paying people on there, and and they're trying to build a new stadium and all this kind of mess. So it could be ugly. It could be ugly for Everton. Same could be said for Leicester, maybe. But that's a story for another day. Miles, any closing?
Forest with all them players too.
Yeah, that would be an admin nightmare. But Miles, any closing comments for you from you before, of course, your big send off into Monday?
It's just been an absolute ride this season. We couldn't have dreamt any more than this, really, to be honest with you. It's just been fantastic. We lost our best defender, one of our best defenders to you guys, because we had to pay for a pitch because rugby messed it all up. So you got him for a steal. But we've just been punching above our weight, and I know what the boys are like. They're going to go for it on Monday. They'll go all out for it, and fingers crossed we do it. But it'd be nice if you guys got in there as well, because you imagine if you got into 6th and then we both got to the playoff final, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? And maybe both goalkeepers score at either end.
Yeah.
But it's just been brilliant, and I I mean, I've started live streaming since last February last year. The team got me on board, and it's just been an absolute pleasure meeting everybody that does all of this for different teams as well. It's just been great. We've made so many friends via doing the live streams. It's been brilliant, and we've had great banter with everyone, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. So, just good luck for Monday, guys, and you never know. It might happen. You just got to have results go your way.
Yeah, it could go our way, but we're like you. I think. Well, obviously we've been in the top 6 for, and even the top 2 for a little bit, and we were in the driving seat for a long time. It's kind of a anticlimax for Rovers, but again, at the start of the season, to be where we are now, if we could just ignore the middle bit, how we collapsed, then we would have taken this. But I would love to see Coventry City back in the top flight. I really would.
Thank you. Thanks.
And also would like to see kind of Luton, see how they would do it. It'd just be so weird.
No.
Bournemouth, no.
No, seriously. Have you been to their ground? I mean, imagine
but
that ground in the Premier League. You've not been to their ground. You walk through someone's back garden to get into the away end, and you're allowed about 950 tickets for the away fans. And seriously, if that team gets in the playoffs, there's something wrong, because they shouldn't be allowed in with their ground. It's absolute disgrace, absolute shocking.
Well, I have seen images of it, but just the story of them being in the non-league and just turn it around. It's just crazy. But I've still got a little nasty taste of Nathan Jones still in there. He was a shithouse merchant, and maybe if he was still in charge, I might not really want to see him up there, because he was always dirty tricks.
They're still the same. They're still the same, Dirk. They are still the same. I mean, when you watch that game against Middlesbrough the other week, and he dived in the box. Is it Morrison? I think dived in the box. Now, I'm not being funny. Matty Godden got banned for 2 games last season for jumping out of the way of a bad tackle in the penalty box against Fulham and got a penalty. That Morrison literally dived, nowhere near him, dived, and he didn't even get banned. It's the team, and they're so dirty. It's unbelievable. Really.
Well, I just think the story's nice. The football is shit, and the ground possibly shit. I'll take your word for it, but just the story that they were on the brink of whatever. But I think your Coventry. I think you're the team to stop. I think the form is there for Coventry. You're scoring goals all over the pitch, and it's. I think regardless of, I think if you can go into this unbeaten, just keep that positivity going, you're going to be the train, the runaway train. Forest were the runaway train last season. You're the runaway train right now.
Thank you.
But for Rovers, I think if somehow, some weird way, with the stars aligned for us, and we get in, I think we can. The pressure will be off. I was telling Nick at the start of this show, I think the pressure will be off Rovers. I think just to get into the playoffs on the last day of the season, the weight will come off our expectation. And I think we'll see the real Blackburn Rovers show, the one that was against Leicester. No pressure against Leicester. We were the better team by far. Of course, not the Forest. That was a shambles. The West Ham in the cup again. Played decent football. And even against Burnley, we were unlucky. We bossed them.
Sheffield United in the FA Cup.
That was a fantastic game. It's there. The football is there. It's just the mental game is kind of causing a lot of problems for Rovers. But as we, just like Miles, Jacob, head into the final, about 24 hours before the game tomorrow, any closing thoughts on what probably will be our last game of the season?
No, just I think JDT definitely needs backing in the summer. I think obviously such a young squad. I think it's either the youngest or the second youngest in the league. Obviously, we've got such an exciting prospect in Adam Wharton coming through. We are going to lose Diaz, obviously, if we don't, go up by some miracle. But if we can get a 20-goal a season striker, like I was saying before, into this team, I think there's absolutely no reason we shouldn't be going for the playoffs next year. I think Adam Wharton is going to absolutely tear this league up. I think, judging from the fact he had 3 Premier League midfielders when he played against Burnley on strings. You know, they were having to result in fouling him, and he just had him on their asses and stuff. You know, obviously the likes of Crystal Palace are linked with him. You know, big money. I think that's obviously the way we're going to have to go. Unfortunately, I think obviously we're not the biggest of spenders. We are going to have to promote through the academy, potentially give a player like Ash Phillips more time. We're going to have to roll the dice on these players to risk and reward, isn't it? High risk, high reward potentially. And I think obviously it's Jean Dahl's first season in this league. We've played some absolutely brilliant stuff, but likewise we've had some absolutely barren spells as well, unfortunately, where we just can't score and whatnot. And just some naivety, I think, as well. Obviously, the main one being away at Preston, Ryan Edges takes that to the corner flag. We've got those extra 2 points in the bag, and things look a lot different going into this final game, unfortunately. Or even against Coventry. You know, I think it was an offside from our own free kick, which then Cov take the free kick, they get a corner, and then, you know, the rest is history. So, I mean, hopefully the stars do align for us. I think we're all due as Rovers fans just some good luck. I think, you know, even in the FA Cup, it would have been nice just to get to Wembley and whatnot, but we couldn't even have that. But, you know, it's no matter how we finish this season, we've done well. I'm shocked to hear that obviously we're probably not even going to finish on as many points as we did last season. What kind of puts things into perspective a little bit, but it's been a good season, hasn't it?
Yeah, a win gets us to the same amount of points. Goal difference, shocking, but yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I'll be here with a bumper watch along. We might even have a build up. Maybe Jacob can fly by and say hello on the pre-game, and I might even do a twit if I can figure it out. Twitter space built into the YouTube somehow, and we can get some fans. I tried that last time, but it was a disaster. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But again, Miles, have a good Monday. I think you're all right. I think you can probably play with your 1 foot there. You need a monstrous collapse. You got good goal difference, so yeah, I think you're okay. A point, of course, will guarantee it. And yeah, I'm honest and you know, hold my word. Coventry would be fantastic back in the Prem. I remember the Peter Unlove days. I'm an old man, believe it or not. I remember those days. I remember Darren Huckabee and all those kind of players. Real good quality team back in the day, and just unfortunate that it panned out the way it did. And you've been on and not only roller coaster season, but a roller coaster journey up and down the leagues, and you've even had the Mowbray effect in the middle of all of that. So have a good Monday. And again, I did say I don't know. I was just ideas come to me. I might do a playoff special with fans of the 4 clubs that are in there like this. So I'll reach out to you if you make it, which you probably will make it. So I'm sure this is not the. Yeah, appreciate it. And Jacob, I'll speak to you soon. And to everybody else, subscribe, thumbs up, and all that kind of jazz. That's it. That's been the build up to the playoffs. I'll be back tomorrow, an hour before kickoff, with a few surprises up my sleeve. But anyway, until then, Jacob, Miles, everyone else, have a good Sunday, and I'll see you all soon.
Cheers.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.